Glamorgan battled hard to move ahead of opponents Worcestershire on a rain-affected second day of their LV County Championship match at the SWALEC Stadium in Cardiff. Play got underway on time, with Glamorgan looking for their first run in reply to Worcestershire's under-par 123 made on day one. Openers Will Bragg and Ben Wright made a steady enough start before the rain arrived, meaning a break of an hour in the morning. On his return to the crease, Bragg looked in good nick, especially square of the wicket on the offside, as he dominated the opening partnership of 22. Bragg looked less secure when the ball was pitched up, and Gareth Andrew got his length just about right to bowl the batsman for 17. Wright was then joined by Stuart Walters, and this pair took their side through to lunch with no further issues. Wright had, for the most part, been stoic in his defence, waiting some 41 balls before striking his first boundary, and that only came from Alan Richardson's slightly misdirected throw off his own bowling. Walters was a little more aggressive as he moved into double figures with a neat cover drive off Andrew, who had his revenge immediately, as next ball Walters missed a flick through leg and was bang in front. He went for 11 at 44 for 2, the game still evenly poised, but Glamorgan started to get a firm grip on the game when Marcus North came in to join the obdurate Wright. North was soon closing in on his partner's score as he showed his undoubted class with some delicious looking strokes. They weren't always absolutely perfect, but for the most part, the experienced Australian looked to cut above the rest. How Glamorgan needed a big score from him after his promising start. Wright, on the other hand, had to work really hard for his runs, but life was starting to get a little easier for him in the afternoon, as he too began to find the boundary rope with some shots of intent. He and his partner took the total into 3 figures. Indeed, the Welshmen trailed by only 20 when they lost their third wicket, Wright finally being dismissed for 40, nicking Richardson behind. 11 more were added by the time that Murray Goodwin fell, carving a short and wide ball from David Lucas to Neil Pinner at backward point. Goodwin went for a single. Glamorgan, who were perhaps fortunate to get away with a draw in their first game here against Northamptonshire, now did move ahead of their opponents on this occasion, with Jim Allenby joining forces with North. North continued to look good into the final session. The one thing which will have perhaps troubled him in his time in South Wales is that he hasn't gone on to score the really big 100 his talents undoubtedly contain. The bowlers certainly get a good look at the maker's name on his bat when he's in this kind of form. So it came as something of a surprise that he fell just before getting to his 50. On 48 he was adjudged to be LBW off the bowling of Richardson. Mark Wallace never really got going on his arrival at the crease, and after spending 20 minutes over his one run, he was well grasped by Michael Johnson off the inside edge. That left Glamorgan on 152 for 6, their lead only at 29. It was time for someone to grab the game by the scruff of its neck, and that man was Allenby. He's a more than reasonable all-rounder whose efforts don't always get the praise they deserve, but on this occasion he pleased his teammates with a fine knock to give his side control of this match at the halfway stage. This indeed may well yet turn out to be the match-defining innings. He needed support, and he found that in the form of Graham Wagg, who reined in his normally aggressive tendencies, realising the importance of this partnership at this stage of this game. Allenby became the first Glamorgan player to register a Championship 50 this summer. He needed 94 balls to get there, and he'd struck 9 fours in getting to his milestone. He now needed to see out the rest of the day to see his side well on top. He would have loved Wagg to stick with him, but the former Derbyshire man fell with around half an hour of the day left, whipping the first delivery with the second new ball from Richardson into the hands of Lucas. That ended a stand of 63, but Allenby and Dean Kosker saw out the remaining time to take their lead into 3 figures. Allenby ended the day on 71, with his side now very handily placed on 235 for 7 to give them an overall lead of 112. They would dearly love to add more to that on the third morning to put Worcestershire under some pressure second time out.